Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa and I am here to share a little bit about my life and something that I love, something that God's put on my heart and given me a burning desire to discuss with others. Not quite sure if He wants me to do them one-on-one or just through videos on YouTube, but right now He's given me a burning desire. So I'm muddling through the process of figuring out my calling, which is talking about budgeting, talking about home budgeting, saving for retirement, saving for your children, college, or whatever the situation may be. And every situation is different, every family is different, everybody's in different stages of finances and debts and savings and all kinds of stuff. So I enjoy it all. I enjoy talking about it, I enjoy learning about it. I do have, disclaimer, an associate's degree in accounting. I have not worked in that degree or that field as of yet. I got my degree in 2009, so that was 10 years ago. But family circumstances kept me away from pursuing a job outside the home. I have been a stay-at-home mom for most of the 23 years I have been married, and I have a 21-year-old and a 15-and-a-half-year-old. So but it's been a great family. And I have used what I've learned in my accounting and associate's degree in accounting for home budgeting and taking care of my family. So that is what I've used it for. Even though I don't technically get paid, I get to spend the money. So I quite enjoy that. But I also wanted to share this because I know people are struggling with finances and money. And I just wanted to share my story and what's worked for us. And hopefully it'll inspire someone else to want to try and walk it out and figure out what works for them. So if you like that kind of content and you're interested in hearing my story, stay tuned. And here we go. So what I want to discuss, as you can see, we use Everydollar by Dave Ramsey. Last June 2019, I took a class, the Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University course at my church. It was a 9-week. Every Monday we would come. There was a new video, we'd have discussion, and there was a group of people that kind of came together and talked about where their finances were and what they wanted to share. You didn't have to share, but you could, and I like to share, so I shared a lot in that class. So this Everydollar app came with it, and I've already talked to my husband about our budget. We've had our budget meeting. We actually, for the second time, I've watched, I think it's the 5th video in the series, which was Buyer Beware, which is hilarious, and I truly enjoyed watching it again. My husband got to watch it for the first time because when I took the class, his job took him out for travel, and he travels internationally, so he was not here when I took the courses. So now that he's back, and he's been back for a while, we try to watch one video a week, just like they did in the over the summer, because it gets a lot of information. You sit there and go, wow, that's a lot of stuff, and you got to kind of digest it for the week before you move on to the next video. So if you do start the series, if you do get into Dave Ramsey, I suggest once a week, watch a video, discuss it with your spouse, or if you're not married and you're single, have a prior partner or some kind of partner to help you walk it out that's been through it or has seen the videos, and or accountability partner, whatever you want to call them, and just, you know, take the information and apply it to your life and share. I'm stumbling through my words, I'm so sorry. And figure out what works best for you. So we're going to dive into the Everydollar budget, which is an app that comes with it. You can get it for free. I do have the paid version just because I paid for the class and I get it for a year. So here's the paid version, and it is, you press this, I'm not going to do that, but it's actually attached to my bank, and that little transactions will show up here, and then I can slide them over into these different categories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and I'm going to go through my categories just to show you where our money comes from and where my money is going. So this is how we do our budget. Here we go. So this is January's. These are our deposits for January. Now, I don't have actual deposit numbers in here. What I did is I took the total of our expenses and made that and divided up among these deposit categories, because when I spoke to my husband about how much he gets in these categories, because he gets military retirement because he was active duty Navy, retired on December 31st, 2017. So at New Year's, everybody celebrated his retirement. That's his favorite joke. When he gets his deposit, he didn't want to disclose exactly what he was getting. And same thing with his VA disability. He didn't want to disclose exactly what he was giving. He is in college. He is about to graduate soon, so he does get VA education benefits. And this is, the first of the month is when he gets it. I just like putting a date there to show, remind me, oh, on the 1st, this is the money that's coming in. So here is that, and I kind of divided this amount separate, it's very close. We have a son who pays us rent. Like I said, he's 21, so he's still at home, but he pays rent, which is awesome. And then what we have here is his salary, overtime, and reimbursements. So like I said before, he travels internationally for business. He does have a pocket of money that he kind of uses over and over again that we just kind of keep in our savings. And when he travels, if he needs to use it for meals or hotel or anything like that, and they reimburse him, that's where it gets reimbursed back into his paycheck. So this is basically his paycheck. But it is either salary or salary and overtime, or salary, overtime, and reimbursements, or salary and reimbursements. It's all one check. And then that just reminds me to keep in mind what's coming into the check right here. He's going to get a check on the 10th, and he's going to get a check on the 24th. He gets paid every other week, and it's every other Friday. And then I have this transfer from rollover checking account. I know it sounds a little weird, but there's a reason I have that there, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And then transfer from sinking funds. I have sinking funds. If you don't know what a sinking fund is, I'll explain that in a minute too. We do have a credit union bank account, and it's only like 10-15 cents, if that sometimes, that we get. But it is a dividend. It is a deposit into our bank account. So, I have a little category for it, and I put it there. Now, when it comes to income and you putting your Everydollar together, you do not have to be this detailed. If you just are somebody that's simple, that gets 2 checks a month, or if you get paid once a week, you would only have those. I have mine set up this way because we have different sources of income. We have a retirement check that comes in. We have a disability check that comes in. Sometimes we have a VA deposit benefits come in, and we won't have these much longer after he's done with school. So after that's over with, then we won't get any more, and I won't have that category anymore. Rent is new for us, so that's just a new thing. Not everybody's going to have these, and that's okay. And you can label it paycheck 1, 2, and 3. This Everydollar is so simple to use. It's just addition and subtraction. That's all you really need to figure out how to manipulate the way the categories work for you. It's very simple, and I absolutely love it because it is simple. It doesn't require a lot of thinking or a lot of difficulty. So let's go on to the next category, my sinking funds. I say mine, but it's ours. I should say ours more often. I just don't. Very sorry. Leave my family out. So as I said before, I have let me bring this back up. I have a transfer rollover checking account income, and I have a transfer from sinking funds income. They're not actually income. They're in a savings account. It's money I put aside in savings or a buffer I left in my checking account, and I want to use it when I go to pay for my expenses down here. So because Everydollar is very simplistic in its way of doing its math, sometimes you have to add little weird categories to transfer the funds in the app. You don't necessarily have to transfer funds in your actual account. Like this rollover December checking account balance. This is just when you are done in December December 31st rolls around, you've allocated and you've got everything set up, and all the money that needs to come out has come out, and all the money that's there, that's left over, is just sitting there. You basically just have cash sitting there, and it's what's left over at the end of December. I use mine as a buffer. So this time around, I had $1,400, a little over $1,400 as a buffer, left over from Christmas, left over from everything in December, and it's just sitting in my checking account. But I don't have it in my income up here. And the reason I don't have it in my income is because these sinking funds I have set up are set up as a fund. Now, in Everydollar, you can have a fund. Let me see if I can, sorry about that, move this around a little bit. So, fund details. This is my fund, and it's hiding the rollover title over here behind my picture. But when you set it up as a fund, it rolls over to the next month. So whatever was previous month is brought over as a starting balance for the next month in January. You cannot make sinking funds, or I'm sorry, you cannot make, let me fix this for a second so you can see me. You cannot make these income amounts into a fund that rolls over every month. So I wanted a place that I could make it a fund and roll over every month. This is the only one that comes out of my checking account. The rest of these are in a separate savings account. So checking account, and these are all savings account. And that's why I have it as a sinking fund. So the money can be accounted for and I can roll it over. Now, if I need to use that money, let's just say I had to have new tires, or I got a flat tire and I needed a new tire. I have vehicle, oh look, it's already open. I left it open, I guess. I can add a line item here. And where'd it go? There it is. And I can put tire purchase. Right? And it's going to cost me $300. I don't know how much tires cost. I just guessing here. And that's how much it's going to cost. Your planned section is the only section that is ever going to change, whether it's over or under budget here. Now let's say that I need to use this money right here to cover that $300. Even though it's in my checking account and I don't have to move money around, in my Everydollar, it doesn't set up that way. So what I would be doing is taking and expensing $300 out of that fund for tire purchase. I would track the expense, and then I would go up here to my transfer rollover. I would put it here in my plan in order to make this an Everydollar budget, $300 as income. And then to make an actual tracking it, I will income that $300 I just took out of my checking into, or out of my fund into my income. And I'll say for tire purchase, transfer. There we go. And that just gives me a note. And then now I'm back to an Everydollar budget. As you can see right here, I'm 100% now. I have the money. I received the money because it was already in my account, but look here, it's already deducted out of here, and now it's not $1,400, it's $1,100. So that is a simple way of using sinking funds if you want to add in here even though you have the money in your account and you have a buffer. That's one way of doing it for this account, for this Everydollar app. Also, we have Christmas funds. These are in my sinking funds. These are in my savings account. And I just let them build in my savings account every month. I just transfer the money and then it just piles in there. And then when I go to use it, I just transfer it into my checking account. I do have to physically transfer it because of where it's at, but I do the same thing here. Like if I'm going to, let's say, a home remodel here, I have $600 built up for that savings. And if you add up all these amounts, that's what my savings accounts will have total to cover all these amounts, because that's where I've been putting it. I'm getting ready to have some of the rooms in my house painted from a friend at church, and I'm paying them. They're a professional painter, house painter, so I'm paying them to move this up a little bit. I'm paying them to come and paint my house, and so that'll come out of here. And so I would expense it out of here. I would deposit up here just like I did here, and then it will deplete, because I will be depleting this account, and to zero. And then down here I can go to a place I already have, home maintenance, and I consider it a home improvement. I would put his charges there and it would balance out. So when it comes to paying, now let's go through the rest of these Everydollars categories that I have. So Christmas fund, car maintenance fund, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, vacation, heating and AC, hot water heater, roof, and home remodeling. So from what I can tell online and many of the videos that I've seen, I do my sinking funds a little different. Either you can do sinking funds for monthly to and semi-annual expenses to something you get into weekly, or you just use for long term. I use mine for very long term. Most of it is at least a year, and most of it is many years down the road. We just purchased our house in April of 2019, and we wanted to make sure when the time came, years and years down the road, that if we needed to replace something major like a roof, hot water heater, these things that I have listed here, heating and AC and all those things, if we needed to replace any of them or have major repairs done, we had some kind of money put aside. Even though a lot of it's in really good condition right now, we don't have to worry about it, I wanted to go ahead and start saving for it. So that's what we've done here. Christmas fund, we only do $50 a month. That gives us $600 at the end of the year. And that's enough for a family of four to get what they really want and what they need, especially when they have family members that like to give money to. So we just kind of combined it all, and there you go. Car maintenance, we have paid off both of one car was given by my father-in-law to my husband, and when we needed it years ago. And so that was gifted, and we didn't have to pay for that, which is amazing blessing from God, and my father-in-law. But we have an Armada, and we had one more year left to pay it off last summer, and I decided to pay it off early. I started Gazelle paying off debt, and we paid it off last summer, and I'm so thankful I did. That was awesome. So we own both of the vehicles, and so we contribute to a car maintenance fund so that when it needs maintenance, and it needs quite a bit of maintenance because we have about 95,000 and needed a really good tune-up recently. It wasn't getting the gas mileage it was before, and it just needed a little TLC. So we took care of that, and you'll see that in some of the expenses down below. But I have a sinking fund to help cover the charges of it, and I thank God that we have this Dave Ramsey program, or I would never have thought of and considered to do this. Amazon Prime, and these are in the order I actually take him out of when he gets his first of the month check, and then he gets a paycheck, and then a paycheck. These are divided into 2 or 3 times a month I pull out. I don't pull them all at once. I just pull them out different times of the month. Amazon Prime, so it's $119 a year, I think. At least it was last year. And we use Prime frequently. A lot of the videos we watch, we stream everything, so we we like Prime. It has a lot of stuff that we liked watching. And so we use that, and obviously we buy stuff from Amazon quite more than we do Walmart, which surprises me. When I started doing this Everydollar budget, I realized how much we were really spending on Amazon Prime compared to Walmart, and I went, oh my gosh. It's just so super convenient, and it comes to your door. I just got laundry detergent today because I hate going to the store and bringing and lugging the laundry detergent, and it costs the same if I have Amazon deliver it to my door, even if it has a little bit of shipping. It's, and when you have Prime, you really don't pay for shipping; you pay for tax. So it's no different. So like, why it's at my front door? I could pick it up and bring it in, and I'm good. So things like that. So I have till September. It was $11.90 a month till September, and then it's already in savings. All I gotta do is transfer it over when they automatically withdraw, make sure it's in the account, and I'm good to go. So I'm good there. Disney Plus, $7 a month. So I'm a couple months behind setting this one up. It's $69.99 a year, and I realized I could save almost 2 months if I did it at $69.99 a year than it was $6.99 a month. $69.99 a year divided by 12 was $5.80 some cents. So it was a lot cheaper that way. I think I saved $13.80 some cents. It's chump change, but it's still worth the savings. So I went ahead and did that. And I can save it this way and pay it at the end of the year and get a whole new subscription. I know this is $70 and it's a penny, but that's a penny that goes into savings, and it's worth saving. So that's cool too. But we love our Disney Plus. We've been watching it. Love all the little shows and the old cartoons and movies and stuff. Oh, just love Disney. Who doesn't love Disney? Vacation fund. So it says use overtime money is what that means, OT. We are not funding it anymore, but we do want to go to Disney because we love Disney. And we have not been to Disney. See, we went to Disneyland 6 years ago, and I think it's been 17, 18 years since we've been to Disney World. And we used to live in Florida, so we want to go back. And we just haven't gone. So we definitely want to go back. Now here's our long term, 5-year, 12-year, 14-year. This is what we're putting away. We want to raise $3,000 to have aside for replacing the heating and AC if necessary. And if we don't need it within 5 years, then that's fine. We'll just keep either adding to until we feel we have a sufficient amount of money to replace the heating and AC unit when the time comes. It just want to sit there until it's time. We just purchased and replaced a hot water heater. I looked it up. Average hot water heater is 8 to 12 years. I didn't know they didn't last 20 years. I thought they would last 20 years. They don't. So we have a new efficient hot water heater, and I'm very happy with it and blessed to have it. So I figured 12 years would be good at $20 a month. We will have $3,000 put aside, and so that should be sufficient to replace and have someone come out and put it in and install it and have the city come out and inspect it and everything when it's ready to go again. So, and then the roof. When we bought our house, the roof was 3 to 6 years old. So I decided 6 years, possible age, and then in 14 years, we might need to replace it or look into replacing it. And so I'm putting away $60 a month for the next 14 years, which sounds, you're like, wow, okay, that's crazy. And that's okay. When you can do small chunks like that for a very long time, it doesn't seem so daunting and overwhelming to have to face these issues down the road. And I know it's going to be many years. Our roof has been great. We've had no problem with it. So it's taken care of. And we can plan for something like this and not have to worry about it down the road. We're hoping to have saved up about $10,000 because we have pretty decent sized house and a lot of roof. So we're assuming that might be the amount. The numbers I got for averages, I just Googled, the average cost of replacing a roof of a house. So the average cost of replacing a hot water heater or heating an AC unit. and just use those numbers. I really don't know the actual numbers of what it would cost. As these things get closer, I will definitely have somebody come out and give me an estimate to say, hey, this is what's actually going to cost. So, and that's fine too. Home remodeling, we just bought the house. We want to do and put our own touches to the house, so we just created a fund. And like I said, we're getting ready to paint, have somebody come out and paint some of the rooms and some of the other things in the house. So, we're excited about that. And I just leave that fund kind of contributing, no time limit or anything like that unless we decide when we do our budget, either the fund's getting too large and we don't need to add more money to it, and then we'll stop, or if we really want to do some work, which we think we will down the road, then how do we add to it? So those are the things you have to think about. Savings, here we go. We have an emergency fund of $1,000. That is baby step one right there. Right there. That's Dave Ramsey. He's like, have your emergency fund. So we have our emergency fund. I started 3 to 6 month expenses, and I really shouldn't have. He says to wait until you're done with baby step 3, which is paying off all debt except for mortgage. I still have school loan. So last night's discussion at the budget, my husband and I discussed, the possibility of taking this $20.50 out of savings and putting it towards my school loan. And so we agreed to do that. So when we actually make the payment, I will be depleting that savings. I will adjust it out, and then you will see that reflected in next month, and they'll be down to zero, which is okay because we'll be paying off so much on that school loan that we will be paying it. We have a plan to pay it off in September. This will pay it off early. It will pay it off 2 months earlier than I expected. I think it's July, August, September. Yes. So 2.5 months earlier than what I had anticipated before. So I'm very excited about that. It's the last debt that we have to get rid of. Our credit card, gone. Everything else, small personal loans, small credit cards, like a Target card or whatever, they're all gone. Non-existent. We don't use them. So that's that. I have these categories for my husband. He has a prepaid Go card with our bank. Reason is he wants to spend money, but he doesn't want to have to really affect our bank account. He doesn't want to bounce anything or deplete the account to where it doesn't have enough money and bills can't be paid. And so he's afraid to take money out of our checking account. He'll forego eating lunch if necessary, if he's worried about, the bank account. And he can check the account, but things that haven't cleared yet is what he's worried about. So what we came up with, and he's one of those free spirits, so he likes to spend money. He enjoys it. He enjoys it a lot more than I do. So we came up with our bank. We discovered they had this prepaid Visa card, and there's no bank fees to it. If you're going to do a prepaid card, do one with no fees, if you can find one, or very minimal. I mean, just like minute. Don't pay extra for something that you don't have to. Really, just if you can avoid it, I highly recommend it. So there's no fees to it. He just adds money when he needs it. He uses it, and that's it. And it's linked to our checking account in the sense of how he transfers funds. So that's pretty awesome. And then when he does have travel expenses when he's traveling, I need a place to expense it out of our bank account because he does use our checking account sometimes to do that, to pay for meals and stuff like that. So, because it has some of the things he has to do, it has to be linked to his checking. It can't be linked to a prepaid Go card. So it's just the way it works and what he does. Tithing and offerings, I do not have anything listed under here. I'm not, just like I'm not giving the exact income that we're bringing in because of personal reasons and because of my husband's request of privacy. I'm also not putting out there exactly how much we are tithing and offering. But I will say what we are tithing and offering. So I have the categories here, I have them up. And what we do tithe and offer, actually, it's pretty much tithing. And we do offerings as God leads us to, month to month. We don't have anything set that we have to. It's just when He leads us to do it and lays it on His heart, or on our heart, we can put it. We have a place to put it. So this is what we do every single month. We have helping hands at our church, and helping hands is just what it sounds. If you are in need and you belong to our church, or you don't even have to be a member, you can just be a part of the church. You can consider us our church family, your church family. We will help those who need it. We love helping them. We want to be the hands and feet of Christ. We want to help others. So we have helping hands at our church. And my husband and I felt very strongly when he started getting his military retirement check. We were so thankful to God at that time, and felt this calling that we wanted to tithe it. Now, it was my husband's retirement, so I felt the call to tithe it, but I didn't feel the amount that we needed. God did not say, give that to me. He was kind of disciplining me in this area right here to trust my husband and allow my husband to speak to God about, the amount. So that's kind of how it works in our family. So my husband felt the same. He's like, I feel God calling me to tithe my retirement check. So we tithe that to our helping hands at the church. And he knows the amount, I know the amount, and it's set every month. Also, we tithe the VA disability, same thing when he got his disability check. We were so grateful to God that it went so smooth. I mean, we hear all the horror stories and nightmares about VA and trying to get your disability and declined or delayed or whatever. But when we started contributing to these two areas and to the church, it was God ministering to us to trust Him on this process. And it was the most beautiful process I've ever been through. Relying on Him and trusting Him. And from the moment He laid it on our heart, from the moment we started doing it, we haven't stopped. And we have not been deprived of anything. And in fact, it may not have been monetary, but we have been blessed, even enriched even more for just that one act of obedience of this, of giving. It's just the most beautiful feeling in the world. There have been many studies on giving and tithing and offering, but also people who aren't of faith that give to St. Jude, cancer research, and things like that. They live very high, loving lives. It helps them, and they also get more back. Financially, they seem to have more, and they give, and that whole cycle of with open hands and giving, they get more in return, and they have this great community about them. So, of faith, not of faith, both. It's a good thing, whether you're doing it with your church or whether you're doing it with Autism Society or cancer research, ALS, any of those giving organizations. It does something to your heart. It does something to your mind. It does something for your soul and your spirit, and that giving just brings so much out in you. And it's awesome. It's just totally awesome, and it's the most beautiful experience I've ever had. So that's why we tithe. That's why we give. Now, our tithing for our church here, these two, that's my husband's paychecks. These are the first Sundays after those checks. So we have 4 incomes that we get regularly: the military retirement, the VA disability, and usually he only has 2 paychecks a month, even though he gets paid every other week. And there's a few months where there's 3 checks a month. But we tithe all of them. All the incomes, all the checks, they all get tithed. And God is so gracious when we do that. So I highly encourage anybody, whether it's just giving to your local community, homeless shelter, whatever, or if you're a faith, whatever your faith is, highly encourage that you do so giving, tithing, or offering, whatever it is you want to call it. Housing and utilities, our mortgage. We have natural gas in our house, electric, home security, city utilities, and our cell phones. And these are our actual numbers. And this is what we actually pay. Now, this mortgage, homeowners insurance, property tax, those are in escrow, and then principal and interest for the mortgage. They're all one payment, and that's common for most, I believe, people who have mortgage. Because this is our very first mortgage. We have no idea what we're doing most of the time, so we haven't even had our mortgage a year yet. It'll be a year. We've been paying on it in June. So that's pretty cool. Transportation, I showed a little bit earlier. I budget $2.50 for gas. It's a little less when my husband's out of town, but we live in a big metropolitan city, so we travel pretty far, and it takes 30 minutes to get anywhere. It's crazy. So I have gas. I know I'm going to have an oil change coming up for my Armada. Vehicle registration, vehicle inspection is this month. Vehicle property taxes. I haven't put anything in here. And where we live, vehicle property taxes, we usually get it in January at some point. Then I think we have 6 months to pay it. We've only done it once because when you're active duty and you lived in the state, you didn't have to if you were your home of record wasn't this state. And we live in Virginia. My husband was in the Navy, stationed at Naval Station Norfolk, and he's no longer in the Navy. He's retired 2 years now this month. Actually, 2 years tomorrow. It's New Year's Eve tomorrow. So we hadn't been paying until he officially retired from the Navy, and we made Virginia basically our home of record because we decided to retire here. So this will be our second year paying property tax, and it was a little confusing last year because they kept sending us bills, and I actually overpaid, and they mailed a check back to me. They're like, "We're sorry, we sent you too many. You didn't have to pay as much as you thought." And I was like, "Thank you for not cashing it and having to refund me and me wait on it." So that was awesome. Amco Synergy. So I told you I paid off all our credit cards. We have one. And the reason we have one is because we do not have our 3 to 6 month savings built up high enough. And I'm actually getting ready to deplete it anyway. And we own both of our cars. And when we need something worked on our car, $1,000 is not going to cut it. I think last year we spent $5,000. So even though we had the money and God blessed us and took care of it, Amco is where we take our vehicle to get maintenance. And this is their credit card. It's a 12-month no interest card that we have. I usually pay it off right away within the first month or two. You don't pay for 12 months, but if you do have a monthly payment after the first month, and if you pay them monthly, which is like very low, and you've got like a few $1,000s to pay, and you're only paying $40 a month for 12 months, that's not going to be enough to pay off a few $1,000s in 12 months. I keep paying it off, but I've gotten to the point where I am disciplined enough to pay off that card within a month or two. And we are fortunate that my husband has a job that randomly throughout the year, we never know when, but he will be gone a month or two, and he gets overtime, and I can use that money to take care of paying off that debt. That's the only, and for us in our minds, it's not even a debt. It's just a balance that we have to pay, and it's a bill. But it is a debt, and we have to be very, very cautious not to let it run too long and not to start getting interest charged. You have to be very disciplined. I don't recommend it because I don't want somebody to go, "Well, you got to do it," and then it not work for them. So, but my car needed a tune-up and a lot of things done to it, and it was $672.66. I did have cash on hand to pay it, but I decided to put it on this card. And we were waiting to the new year, and we knew there were going to be some changes in our budget, and we're just going to pay it off cash. We've got that $600 in our sinking fund for car maintenance. We're going to transfer that out, put it in our checking. I'm going to pay this card bill. The other reason I have it is because when I walk in, I can just swipe that card. It goes onto a card, and I don't have to think about it. And I can go home and I can look at our budget and go, how am I going to pay it? How am I going to do this? How is this going to work? And I don't have to struggle as they're working on it, trying to figure out, gosh, how much is this going to cost and how are we going to take care of it? We have a plan, and it's a good one. We just have to be disciplined enough to pay it off. So we do have that. That was the fake tire purchase that I put in earlier that you saw. Let's see here, food. We use HelloFresh. We just started this subscription program because we like to go out to eat too much, and I just can't get that budget down. I cannot. I want it down to $300 a month, and I just can't do it. In fact, it was so high of course it was Christmas. This past month in December, anyway. And groceries I want to reduce too. I think we're spending too much on groceries. I'm not organized. I don't have meal plans. I'm not very good at doing that. I can do a budget like nobody's business, but I cannot seem to meal plan at all. I don't enjoy cooking. I don't enjoy any of that. So I struggle in this area. I'm thinking about doing cash envelopes for this too, but I haven't committed, so we'll see if it happens or not. Lifestyle and personal, I have a miscellaneous category, haircuts. Only my husband and my youngest son gets haircuts. I get a trim every once or twice a year. We have a pet, but we don't budget for it. It's a gerbil. He's only this big. We don't spend a whole lot on him. Family fun, ATM. So if we wanted to go do something, we have a local baseball team that we'd like to go see. We'll go to the ATM, grab some cash, go to the ballpark, and we can buy food, we can get souvenirs, we can, drinks, whatever. And that's where I kind of put that. I don't budget for it, but when I know we have enough in our buffer to have a little fun, then that's where I get it from. Internet and subscriptions, like I said earlier, I stream everything. That's why we have Disney Plus. I don't have the subscription here because I paid it all at once for the year, and that's it. I don't have to put it in as a bill, which is kind of nice. But I do have Amazon Music. This is 99 cents for the first 4 months, and we've only had it a month, so this is the second month we're paying the 99 cents. And my husband loves it. He's like, it's worth it to me. I'm like, okay. I don't use it, but he uses it. CBS All Access, that gives us our local streaming, one channel. CBS is the one we use the most, what we like to watch the most, so there you go. And we do have an antenna on 2 of our TVs, but we have Rokus on all of our TVs. So we have the subscription loaded on all our Rokus, and we have the antennas if we want to watch the other NBC, Fox, or ABC. So, but we're not big TV watchers, so it doesn't really matter to us. We only needed a few things. Sling subscription, that's what we would consider our cable. Internet. So we have internet to stream everything. We don't have cable at all. And we don't have a landline. No, I don't think anybody uses landlines anymore. iTunes subscriptions. This is kind of high because I just purchased the Office Suite, Office 365. It's got the Excel, Word, PowerPoint, notes. They had 5 things. For a year's subscription, it was $69.99, I think. And then 99 cents is what I usually spend on iTunes for my storage for my phone and all the pictures I store in there. My gosh, I got 2,000 pictures on that sucker. Then health insurance. So auto insurance, life insurance, medical insurance for my son, and allergy and asthma. Our medical and dental and vision is actually taken out of my husband's retirement check before we even get the deposit. So I don't put that in here, our personal medical in here. But I do have allergies and asthma, so occasionally I will give them $100, charge $100 to my debit card, and that covers my allergy shots and a doctor's appointment every few months. So I have that, and then my son, who aged out of the medical we do have, and had to get his own, we bought into it, but we had to pay for 2 months up front. So we did that in December. And so our son has medical insurance that's 21 years old, but but because we already paid for 2 months, we really don't have to pay anything. Let's see, half of December, all of January, half of February. So it's going to look a little wonky until we get to March, and then that's the first full charge of my son's insurance on our account. And yes, we do pay it, but he does pay us rent, and half of his rent's pretty much going to his medical, but the other half, we just add and put to our housing utilities and stuff like that. So, but that's it. That is my Everydollar. And I know this was probably extremely long, and I'm very sorry for that. But I wanted to go through every category because there's so many things you could do with this, and you can make it work so many different ways. But this is how we do it, and I hope this helped. I hope somebody gets inspired on how they want to save, what they need to save for, and how to stick with paying off debt and not carrying debt. There's scripture in the Bible that says not to be a slave to the lender. This is something God told us not to be in debt. And we're just not listening. I mean, it's not a sin to be in debt, but it's drowning us as a nation. We are so drowning in debt. It's absolutely absurd, and it's making the cost of everything so high and difficult to obtain. So changing your perspective and relationship with money, and changing how you communicate with either your partner or an accountability partner on how to spend and where to spend your money, it's a big thing. And Dave Ramsey has opened the door of communication on money, how to communicate on it. And I think we all should learn how to do that instead of being ashamed and hiding on how we're communicating on money with our partners. Have it an open door, have it a casual conversation, and it will save a lot of marriages. It will save a lot of families, because one of the biggest fights couples have are over money, and they get divorced over it, and it's so heartbreaking that families are destroyed because of it, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you are interested in more videos like this, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you soon. You guys have a blessed and great day. Thanks. Bye.